Welcome to Motegi for the full road course Division 2 and 3 cars. We commented on Division 1 and back is Byron Derksecchi once again because the crowd has been like, why do you need a third man in the booth? Why can't it just be the original dynamic duo?
There is a third man and his name is McEwen.
Ah, indeed. And Chris,
brought to you by McEwen Export. 8% alcohol. Drink it, goddammit, just drink it.
Chris Ramaker off the track early there, and you heard my phone in the background because my dad can't figure out the security question for the money I sent him.
Oh no, that's me.
Oh, is that you? Okay.
Yeah, that was me texting.
Okay. It's even worse. I told you
motherfucker went sideways. That
off
car just went fucked over.
Off the track goes John Barker, and in the background it looks like there was some more carnage that occurred. In the meantime, out in front, it's Enrique Hervas leading from Luca Gray in the prototypes. Only 4 prototypes on the field today. That includes Hervas, Gray, Philippe Fehea, who has changed over from the Daytona prototypes to the P2s by special discompensation order due to the fuel mileage that we were talking about last time. And the eel as our Adamore.
When the fish bites your thigh and you scream very high, that's amore.
That's true. Bit of a moment there for Ariel Zattoni and Andy Blade moving into third place in the GT class, trailing just... I haven't mastered the name of the Audi who's currently leading there yet, so we'll wait till we see that. And Cesar Maragna, of course, the championship leader of the GT class.
The Maragna. Is that what you put on meat overnight in the fridge? You put a little Maragna on it and tastes good?
I will have to ask Caesar that.
Excellent.
Luca Gray on the attack, making his, I believe this is his debut in the Invitational Series.
The debut.
He may have been there for the Bathurst round. I'm not quite entirely... Oh, no, he was there for Spa. He was debuted at Spa-Francorchamps. He's putting the pressure on Enrique Hervas, and it's good to see someone taking the fight to Hervas because he's been absolutely dominant in this series.
Yeah, that motherfucker's been like, what, over a minute ahead of most people? Or 30 seconds to a minute ahead of most people?
Yeah, 30 seconds to a minute ahead of, second place. Zattoni trying to make a comeback against Andy Blade in a battle for what is 7th overall and 3rd in class. Ariel Zattoni of Argentina.
Congratulations. Congratulations on being not classless.
True. Mercedes versus Audi battle. A classic, long-standing battle in sports car racing, and really, frankly, any racing you can think of. Benz versus Audi. Rounding off the top 5 is Michael Jeffries, who I do believe is making his debut. He's in the green Black Falcon Mercedes there.
That's good color.
Trailed by the Porsche of Simon Boehner and BUT. Who is... Butler. I think it's Samuel Butler. Could be wrong on the first name.
Does he, in fact, buttle?
He may, in fact, buttle.
Excellent.
Trailing him is Dean Reimers, then Michael McGracken, Lachlan Nichols. Then it is... Joel Martinez. I'm assuming it's Joel based on the Spanish heritage. Chris Ramaker, who we saw go off the track. John Barker, who we saw go off the track. Fredericos Wagner, your favorite man in the world. And his ability to keep a car running through pure hatred.
Pure hatred drives this. He is the Sith Lord of ESR. Fear him. Fear his power. Basically just fear. A lot of fear. You should just feel that. Him and John Pache are way off the back end of everyone, so they had some incidents earlier. I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. It was not caught on tape, but John Pache absolutely wrecked the crap out of Andrew Unayaki in the Corvette and destroyed his car. Not the urchin. Leave the urchin alone. It was pretty hefty. I'll have to dig up a picture for you. It was a crash and a half. I so far have not seen a single winner in this entire field because no one's rocking the Gulf oil. That's true. As we all know, if you're rocking the Gulf oil, you just win by default. Scott Hutchinson missing in action. He is the Gulf Oil Porsche driver.
And the honorary Gulf Oil driver, Rick Martel, is missing.
Whoa!
Oh!
Hey, synchronized spin-offs. I like that.
Simon Boehner and Michael Jeffries getting into a little bit of a tango there.
You get a 7.6 from the Russian judge.
In the meantime, Fredrikos Wagner making room for the class leader, along with the Bentley of Cesar Maragnou. Ariel Zatoni has gotten back past Andy Blade into third place there. And further back, Joel Martinez putting pressure on Michael McGracken, and Chris Ramaker making an impressive comeback drive. He is already back up into 11th place overall after an early spin.
Can I start singing the first Yoel in honor of the Christmas spirit?
Go ahead.
Well, the joke's kind of run its course already.
It happens sometimes. In the meantime, doesn't look like there's anything really happening in the prototype category. They're close enough together that it's certainly not settled, but it doesn't look like anyone's really putting the pressure on to try to take a position or two. And we run back to the man who's currently running into second place, Luca Gray, looking to put the pressure on Enrique Hervas.
What was that UFO shit?
Some talented levitation of the car there.
Somebody check that man for fucking downforce jets.
Indeed. Dean Reimers trailing Butler. I'm going with Samuel Butler until we see his name and it proves me wrong. I
do appreciate the fact that the Rhinoceros is rocking the BC Lions colors.
That's true. He's always rocking the BC Lions colors. Honorary BC Lions fan.
Yeah, boy. You get the Louis Pasaglia Race Award.
More traffic up ahead of the GT leaders. You can see some headlights flashing in impatience at John Pachea, who is, of course, the man who absolutely destroyed the retired Corvette. In a little bit of Ford on Chevrolet violence. And you can see he is wearing the battle scars on that Mustang of that collision.
So I've been working on this new beverage idea. I think I can market it pretty well.
Continue.
We're gonna just take straight grain alcohol and powdered chocolate, and it's gonna be called For Cocoa. It's a rough crowd.
I mean, I was expecting some kind of Mandrake reference, to be honest.
Mandrake! No, I mean, we could work that in, but it's For Cocoa. It'll make the string in your leg go.
In the meantime, Luca Gray has slipped down to third place behind Philippe Fahea and is under pressure from Azar the Eel Alamore.
He's a slippery one, Mr. Grinch.
Azar, a big fan of our commentary, and therefore we are a big fan of him. And Luca Gray flashing the headlights to try to get a little bit of a distraction on Philippe Fahea. I don't think that will work on a seasoned racer like Philippe.
Is there a horn button?
There is no horn button.
Okay, I need there to be a horn button, and I also need the La Cucaracha horn to be a viable option.
I would agree. Oh, I created a battle mech recently, a mech warrior that has the La Cucaracha horn. So
nice.
It's not complete yet. I still gotta fully skill it up before I can show it off in public.
It's gonna be like A10 Warthog meets 1970s lowrider. What?
In the meantime, Luca Gray slashing in front with a very nice overtake move there on Philippe Fahea for second place. This is, of course, just feeding into Enrique Hervas' advantage, as he is now over 6 seconds in front of the second place car, which by his standards is a entirely microscopic lead.
I was gonna say, has he been drinking? I mean, it's the holidays. I understand. I understand and condone these actions, but he should easily be 35 seconds out by now.
It's a little bit early days yet. We'll see how it goes. Dean Reimers trying to put some pressure on there. Philippe Fahea's trying to make a comeback against Luca Gray for second place in the prototype class.
Good old flippin' Felipe.
And still leading the GTs is a guy whose name I don't know until we get him on the screen. We had this problem when we were commenting on the D1 race too, when I just knew that the leader was from Finland.
That would be Saku Koivu.
Probably. Michael Jeffries on the assault against Joel Martinez in a Mercedes on Mercedes fight. Hello Kitty versus Black Falcon.
Black Falcon always wins.
Black Falcon better win. That is my car.
Inside, outside, in your nightgown.
Indeed. He's going down the inside, and he's got it. Michael Jeffries is through on Joel Martinez for 12th place. That would be 8th place in the class. Further on behind, it looks like Mike McGracken is fighting off against Simon Boehner and John Barker for position as well. So a lot of battling going on throughout the GT fields and even the prototype field, although really the prototype field's really just this fight here between Luca Gray and Felipe Vejea for 2nd place.
Unless your boy Huevos does a really fucked up pit stop.
It's true. We were talking about the 6-second gap being relatively small. He had it up to 8 seconds there for a little bit.
That's correct. Don't think I'm not looking at that.
Joel Martinez trying to strike back against Michael Jeffries, but it does look like Jeffries is the faster of the two Benzes and is pulling away ever so slightly. These Benzes are very strong in the straightaway, not spectacular in the corners, though. As you can see, a little bit of wideness going on there. Looks like nothing really happened, though. They are in the same positions. Ariel Zatoni and Andy Blade still trailing Cesar Maragna, the championship leader, trying to desperately make up some ground in the standings against the Bentley driver.
I require you to have somebody in your league named Lorenzo and make him drive a Mercedes. Because then I can just use the NWA references non-stop.
I would be surprised if we don't have a Lorenzo, to be honest.
Me and Lorenzo chilling in a benzo.
Dean Reimers has been caught up very rapidly by Chris Raymaker, who is on the tail of both Butler and Reimers, and they seem to be a little bit stuck behind the Ford Mustang of John Pachea, better known as Peaches on the Discord server. Shout out to Peaches.
I need the camera to pull out dramatically at this point so we can go, Rainmaker! That was a big move. That motherfucker just skipped over 2 cars.
Indeed. Well,
maybe
one's
3.
One's a lapped car.
That's a 3.
Yeah.
That's a
big
3
move. It's James Butler, not Samuel Butler. All right. Confirmation on the name. And Chris Raymaker suddenly up into 5th place in the class after a first lap spin put him pretty much at the back of the pack.
That's what we in the business refer to as a big dick move.
That's a little shake and bake.
El Diablo and the Magic Man.
Felipe Vejea still on the tail of Luca Gray, but not seemingly having a move in handy. Although Ariel Zatoni might, he is looking at it in a Mercedes-Benz versus Bentley fight with Cesar Maragna. And in the background is the Audi of Andy Blade. In the meantime, Dean Reimers and James Butler are still fighting over 10th place overall, 6th place in the class, after both were victimized by Chris Raymaker not that long ago.
It was brutal. Somebody called the police.
Andy Blade on the attack against Ariel Zatoni once again. In the background, it looks like Butler has seen off Reimers for 10th place. And Andy Blade is looking for a way around. And you got to think the pressure's on these guys, because Raymaker is coming up behind them pretty quick. We'll have to keep an eye on the gap there. But I think that McLaren may have the speed to mess around with the guys fighting over podium positions.
I would like to extend a formal invitation to any and all race people to download World of Tanks, get yourself a PZ1C, and we can do some races in another game entirely.
It is highly amusing to play what is called Mario Kart with Panzer 1Cs in World of Tanks.
Have you ever wanted to drive a car but shoot the guy ahead of you? Does that sound interesting? Maybe look into it.
It's a bit Death Race meets Rallycross, if that makes any sense.
That's affirmative.
In the meantime, Joel Martinez back on the attack against Michael Jeffries. We thought Jeffries had pulled away, but Martinez definitely has other plans. Martinez was the divisional winner at Spa, had a fantastic race, and is looking to build upon his momentum.
Oh baby, something going at the wall! No, not quite.
It looks like they're okay, and it looks like Martinez has gotten through. No one's randomly dropping back, so credit to both drivers. They went wheel to wheel in a very literal sense, and it appears that they have emerged relatively unscathed from the contact.
Remember, kids, rubbing is required.
Felipe Fejea putting the pressure once again on Luca Gray. Andy Blade is all over the back end of Ariel Zatoni.
Andy Blade likes that back end.
Absolutely climbing all over the back of that Mercedes.
You're going to shave it close.
And can he get through? Can Felipe Fejea get through against Luca Gray? Because we have two very exciting battles.
What the fuck was that skidding ass sideways bullshit?
He does that a lot. I assume he's using a controller as opposed to a wheel.
That is fair. I was actually showing my boss and my boy Pete at work. Shout out to Pete if you're watching this. I showed him the channel and played a little bit of the commentary that we did on our first race. So there's interest out there, and they thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's cool. Like that, it sounds kind of lame when you're kind of laying it down. To
oh no, I was
once
hyping
they
it up
see.
big.
Yeah.
I'm the best at the hype.
You are the greatest hype man the world has ever known.
I was explaining about rigs and how you guys control the cars and stuff like that, and yours in particular. How
whoa!
I missed something. What was going on?
Lachlan Nichols and Luca Gray have smashed into each other, and Felipe Fejea has taken over second place as a result.
Luca Gray sleeps with the fishes.
Indeed. Continue with your story, though.
Anyway, I was explaining about people with the PVC rigs and people with the store-bought rig. We sell one at the store, which I sent you a picture of, and said that I'll just get this and then buy talent later as a joke. And so I was further explaining that you have to, if you want to be competitive, this story's going somewhere, I swear. If you want to be competitive in stuff like this, you have to have the controls. You have to have a wheel. You have to have the pedals and the whole bit. You can't just, mouse and keyboard this shit. And controllers is better than a mouse and keyboard, but still, come on, let's be frank here. That's not what's going to work.
Well, a major problem with the controller is that due to the dual nature of it not being an analog but rather digital control, is that you murder your tires. I have found that guys who use controllers can be as fast over a single lap as a guy with a wheel, with the right talent. Andy Blade getting it through there is Ariel Zatoni going a little bit wide. That's for third place in the GTs. But the issue comes in when it comes to race time. Because, for example, we had a guy named Brandon who made his debut at Spa. And basically was nowhere in the race because he had murdered his tires like four laps in.
Brutal.
And when you're murdering your tires 4 laps into a 60-minute race, you're in for a long day.
Yeah, that sounds not good.
So, shout out to him. Hopefully he continues to soldier on and fight the good fight. Dean Reimers, though, is an example of a guy who does use a controller and has done very, very well.
I did not know that.
For a guy without a wheel. Now, he does have the same problem with the tires, of course. I believe we referenced that at Hockenheim when I said some cars might want to stop from tires, and I specifically referenced Dean Reimers probably wants to change his tires. Because John Pache is facing the wrong way under the bridge there. And in the meantime, Luca Gray continues to hovercraft this just a little bit, putting the pressure on Felipe Fejea.
Go to the hacks.
They're coming up relatively quickly to a bunch of fighting GTs, so that could get very, very interesting. Oh, contact!
Oh, that was salty. And we're right into the orange car.
Indeed, Dean Reimers is fighting with Chris, or no, is that Chris Ramaker? No, that's John Barker. Ramaker has the other orange McLaren. Orange and McLaren, the two colors go together very well.
I see that the Black Falcon is now again ahead of the Hello Kitty, as it should be.
Mm-hmm. Jeffrey's winning the battle currently with with Yoel Martinez. In the meantime, Simon Boehner, who's having a pretty bad race. Generally one of the faster GTs in the grid, down in 17th position, fighting against a debuting Lachlan Nichols. Or, pardon me, I believe Lachlan made his debut at Spa as well. We had a number of debuts at Spa that are continuing to return here. Welcome aboard, gentlemen.
Word. There, I also work with a young man named Lachlan, but I continually refer to him as Lalchan.
Mm-hmm. And of course, as always, the general, if we are pronouncing your name wrong, don't take offense, just correct us, and we roll on.
Yeah, either that, or if you wanted to pronounce it in some new and hilarious way, tell us and just lie to us. We don't care.
I did think of something, because with the crew chief mod that a lot of the guys use to provide additional information while they're racing, basically it's a mod that talks to you. It'll act as a spotter if a car's to your inside, to your outside.
Is that what that is?
That is what that is.
I've seen a couple of replays where people were talking. I'm like, wait, timeout. That sound, because like a couple of the voiceovers actually sound like guys that I've talked to in the league. So I'm a little confused as to like, is somebody over your shoulder watching your replay as it's happening, going like, no, you need to go left, go right. So that explains a lot.
Yeah, it's the crew chief. You run in the background, and it acts as a spotter. It'll also give you semi-useful information about your car. Like, for example, it'll tell you when your pit window probably is. Like, you're going to need gas between, say, the 35th minute and the 47th minute, that sort of thing. Anyways, you can program your name into that. The group that creates the program accepts customized namings. So it's interesting to note that, for example, I was racing against Rudy Ruissel today in the Enduro race, and that was how it pronounced his name. So I'm wondering if that's a customized pronunciation he sent to them, because it doesn't seem like the standard pronunciation of a name spelled like that.
I would have to either agree or totally disagree with you, depending.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, Cesar Maragno, in a bit of a weird position here. He's not winning the GT race in that Bentley, which has been absolutely a sign of victory. That black Bentley has been absolutely dominant. In the meantime, I believe that's Philip Vejea slicing his way through the grid. He's behind Luca Gray again. Luca Gray is 5 seconds behind Enrique Hervas. Did we perhaps miss a Hervas pit stop? Because
that's possible. Either that or he just slowed down to just be nice.
He was very much disappearing into the distance prior to this. Simon Boehner still on the assault against Lachlan Nichols. Nichols doing an excellent job here in his second ever ESR race to hang on to the 16th position in this battle of McLaren versus Porsche Power.
Everybody knows that the Polish car is going to win anyway.
Is there even a Polish auto manufacturer?
I have no idea. Probably not. That's why I picked it.
Can't think of anything. Andy Blade.
The Polish Power.
Andy Blade still on the hunt for some Portuguese dinner in that Bentley.
He is hungry for the paella like the wolf.
Indeed, indeed. To recap, this is a battle for second position. Ariel Zattoni in the background there is in fourth position in the Mercedes in the GT class. John Barker is now on the tail of Joel Martinez in the Hello Kitty Mercedes. And in the background, you can see Dean Reimers making ground up as well. The orange tide is coming, and can the pink and white hold it off?
No.
I would generally think not, but we will see, because I do believe that two cars behind Martinez are faster than him by a relatively considerable margin, so it will take some fantastic defensive driving to retain the 12th position that he currently occupies.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but it is legal to just give any pink car the pit maneuver. You can get away with it. It's all right.
ESR does not condone this rule interpretation.
The only only caveat to that rule is if you've gone overboard, like if you've gone like totally solid hot pink all the way, I mean, then you're just kind of that's all right.
I don't think that there is the BWT Mercedes, which is pretty damn pink. BWT, a company that's been involved in German autosports for like a while now, and they're pretty big, and everything is pink with them. I don't understand it.
That is a little weird.
It's a bit weird because their logo isn't pink; it's like a blue and white, and their cars are always pink.
That's a bit fucked up.
Mm-hmm. They actually they were the sponsor the last couple of seasons of the Force India F1 team, which is now Force Canada. Not actually what it's named, but it was bought by Canadian billionaire Lawrence Stroll for his son to race for it. And we missed Andy Blade overtaking Cesar Maragno. Maragno's trying to come back at him. They've got a prototype coming through to try to lap them.
Oh, that looked pretty good as a pass.
It did, but it looks like he got through. John Barker is also putting the pressure on Joel Martinez in the Hello Kitty Mercedes.
If there's a Hello Kitty Mercedes, I need there to be like a Fist of the North Star Mercedes. Mm. I mean, if you're gonna go ridiculous Japanese culture, you got to go both ways. Come on.
I would agree with that pretty much, but I mean, it's where the money is, my friend.
Boring.
In the meantime, Barker is still putting the pressure on Joel Martinez. Is he going to try to go side by side with him through the S's? Because that might be slightly crazy. He did not. A lot of people were willing to go side by side through those S's. I was a little surprised by it myself, to be honest. Andy Blade has lost a spot now also to Ariel Zattoni. Has slipped back to 4th position. What has happened to the Audi master Andy Blade?
He did.
Although we actually have an Audi out front for a change. So Audi.
This is probably why he didn't want to do commentary with us. He knew how badly he did in this race.
He was pretty confident before the race started.
Horrible performance. Atrocious.
He's still in 4th place, still within striking distance of the podium. We still got 32 minutes to go, more than half the race.
We will mail him to France.
We've got a pit stop to go, which we've seen in the past. Those pit stops can definitely win or lose the race for you if you make the wrong call. For example, in today's Enduro race, I put way too much gas in, and that caused me to have a really slow pit stop. I was chasing down Andy Blade and James Butler, who were having a nice little fight ahead of me. And I was about 12 seconds behind them at the pit stop. Came out like 33 seconds behind them. It was like, oh my god. Ooh, that's terrible. And Rudy Ruissel and Rick Martel caught up to me substantially in the pit stops. Shout out to Rick. We had a good fight in the Enduro race today. Shout out to Rudy. We had a really good fight in the Enduro race today. It was thoroughly enjoyable, although 90 minutes of sitting in my rig is going to take some getting used to.
Well, I mean, maybe if you just contorted yourself unreasonably, it would be a better fit for you.
Well, what it'll be is I'm going to, probably over time, I'm going to weather the sides that are pinching me a little bit, so it pinches me less.
Or you could just use a Sawzall.
Don't tempt me. It's an option that has crossed my mind. Is just like taking a saw to it. I got to figure out if it's actually supporting anything like structurally on the chair, though. Andy Blade, Ariel Zattoni, Cesar Maragno. It feels like Maragno is actually the slowest of these three, which is something I wouldn't have said at any other round this season.
He is obviously intoxicated.
I mean, it's possible. This is not far removed from, of course, Christmas.
I did float that idea for like a one-off weekly race where everybody has to have a 3-drink minimum before you start the race. No warm-up, no nothing. You have to, and if you do a pit, you do a shot.
I'd be down for this.
I think it'd be entertaining as fuck.
I might actually win.
These are all possibilities. But everybody has to drive a Morris Minor.
That part we can't really accommodate.
Well, whatever square hunk of junk car you can find.
Well, that would be the NSU Nits.
That'd be fine.
The bathtub we were talking about last night.
I have vague memories of this.
Andy Blade, Ariel Zatoni, Cesar Maragna, all very close together, and this is all just playing into the leader's hands because he's kind of disappearing off into the distance a little bit. I mean, we can still see him, but he's got a solid gap now back to the guys fighting over second place. He's like about 5 seconds up the road, 5-6 seconds up the road. So that's becoming pretty big. In the meantime, at the front of the pack, Enrique Hervas has stretched his lead over Azar Alamore to 24 seconds. It does look like Fajea and Gray have made their pit stops. And perhaps Hervas did, because we did notice that his gap randomly decreased. So he either made a mistake or he made an early pit stop. I'm not sure which is more likely. And another prototype coming to lap.
I was about to say his time seems to be closing, but maybe he's going through corners that Alamore is not yet.
That could be it. Also, well, I think this gap is going to grow because Alamore is the prototype we're looking at here that's trying to pick its way through the GTs, which is... Even as accommodating as our GT drivers generally are, I mean, traffic is traffic, and it can hold you up.
Yup.
Cesar Maragna getting very out of the way there for Azar. It doesn't look like Azar got through, though. I think he's still behind the Bentley. That could also be the case. This gap is definitely closing. I think Hervas is in the pit.
That seems to be a distinct likelihood. And Eddie Blade suddenly charges to the front of the pack. Oh, wait, he's not, because he's terrible. Oh, my goodness.
Still putting the pressure on Ariel Zatoni. Now, interesting enough, they should have passed Hervas there if he was actually in the pit lane. But it appears like he might have gotten out ahead of Azar Alamore yet, which is a pretty fast pit stop. Either that or we have maybe a timing glitch, because it does appear the gap is now thundering up. Although Azar may have got it. You know what it is? I think Azar went in the pits as well.
These are all possible things.
Andy Blade putting the pressure on Ariel Zatoni. Looks like looks like the Hello Kitty car is kind of on its own now. Lachlan Nichols putting the pressure on Mike McGracken in a battle for 15th position between Audi and McLaren. I must say, the McLarens have very nice liveries. It's just that I can't get over how you sit in the car. It's exceedingly low to the ground.
I believe what they do is they are supported on a cushion of air the entire time.
And Lachlan going down the inside. Can he make it stick? Doesn't look like it. McGracken holds on for now. They've also picked up a spot over Chris Raymaker. So it looks like Raymaker has made his pit stop. We should be seeing some GTs in the pits now. Side by side, a battle for really nothing more than pride, because this is way down in the pecking order, but sometimes those are the best fights.
This is correct. Embarrassingly enough, I have to make a pit stop of my own, because I have to offload some racing fuel.
Okay.
I shall return in a minute.
I will attempt to be amusing in the absence of my
Sing him a song.
Commentary partner, Byron Derksecchi.
Sing a song.
I'm not singing. That's not entertaining. That's raping your ears. Dean Reimers is on the tail of the Hello Kitty car of Joel Martinez. This is a battle for 11th place, and I want to say 7th in the GTs, although they have not pitted and Chris Raymaker has. Raymaker is, I think, definitely probably ahead of them in the pecking order once things settle. Lachlan Nichols still putting the pressure on Mike McGracken for 14th position, 10th in the GT3 pecking order. I believe also second in the Division 3 pecking order, if I'm not very much mistaken, unless Lachlan is a Division 2 driver. I'm not sure how that ended up playing out. He did very well in the one lap pace, but did struggle a little bit in the overall pace of the race. And through the S's they go. A little bit of a cut tight there for McGracken. Maybe a bit of a track cut, but it doesn't look like he got the black flag or anything. In the meantime, we re-pick up the battle between Dean Reimers and Yoel Martinez. Someone else has come into the pits as well. It is John Barker, who has hit the pit lane and is dropped back in the pack. So we are still waiting on the pit stops, I believe, of Cesar Marano, Andy Blade, Ariel Zatoni, James Butler, Michael Jeffries, Yoel Martinez, Dean Reimers, Mike McGracken, and Lachlan Nichols.
My pit stop is over.
Welcome back to Byron.
I didn't have to take on a whole lot of gas. I had to offload some.
Chris Raymaker catching up to this fight between Lachlan Nichols and Mike McGracken, and they're also catching up to Fredrikos Wagner. Shout out to Fredrikos Wagner, who, I mean, to be honest, a lot of drivers in his position would just pull over and call it a day, but he's soldiering on, and it's actually keeping him in the Division 3 championship hunt. Dean Reimers picking up a spot on the Hello Kitty Mercedes of Yoel Martinez, who went off the track there. It'd be interesting to see if we could rewind that and see what happened there in more specific detail. Still waiting on some pit stops to shake out here. McGracken's still leading Lachlan Nichols. And there is Yoel Martinez, now separated from Dean Reimers by the contact he had, or the incident he had, or the mistake he made.
Oh, I missed contact.
What it is. Lachlan Nichols looking a little squirmy under the brakes there. Coming in late as they head into the S's.
Time to get new tires.
Here they go. They're heading into the pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
And a little contact there. Little shove off.
Oh, it's not. Oh, no. They're feisty. I like this.
Little revenge tap from McGracken.
Somebody got thrown a potato.
And we'll see who can beat who off of the pits here. It looks like Dean Reimers is in the pits as well. In the orange Audi. As the pit stops are starting to settle down. Ariel Zatoni has been in and out of the pits by the looks of it. Or has he? No, it doesn't look like he has. Or maybe he has.
Or maybe he hasn't.
Seems unlikely though. I think him, Marano, and Blade have yet to pit.
The Blade needs a whetstone.
Simon Boehner is coming through as they head out. Lachlan Nichols has beaten McGracken and Reimers out of the pit lane. Fantastic pit stop from the Australians team.
He literally had to change one lug nut and went. This one's off balance. Wop wop.
He had to take some fuel in, that's for sure. Unless he's going to do a two-stop strategy or something.
Myself, I'm going for the one-stop strategy tonight.
Dean Reimers, probably a longer than expected pit stop. We talked about him earlier on, about his need for probably new rubber. Probably change the tires. Michael Jeffries, coming out ahead of Cesar Marano. It's a hell of a run for Jeffries, assuming that he's made his pit stop, because Marano was well ahead of him. I'm suspecting he has not pitted, though, because I'm noticing that James Butler is also ahead of Marano, so I'm thinking that Butler, Jeffries, Blade, and Zatoni still need to pit for fuel and potentially tires. Marano putting pressure on the Black Falcon Mercedes in his Bentley. It's always interesting to think which of these cars cost more.
What's the bill gonna be if I crash this? What's the bill gonna be when I crash that guy?
Is Jeffrey going for the pit lane? Jeffrey's going for the pit lane, it looks like. So that's going to free the man who was in second place. Dean Reimers putting the pressure on Lachlan Nichols. Mike McGracken doesn't appear to be able to stay with the two Australians who are battling for countryal pride.
Country pride, take
one of the
me
prototypes.
home.
One of the prototypes coming through the back end there. In the meantime, Jeffries is dropping back as cars overtake him in the pit lane. Joel Martinez has passed him. I suspect Chris Raymaker will possibly also overtake him, along with And it looks like a bad pit stop for... we still don't know his name. CEUE, the guy who was winning the GT3 races. Because he's dropped behind Chris Raymaker, who we know has pitted, and Michael Jeffries, who we know has pitted. So, bad pit stop from the leading team. Ariel Zatoni coming out of the pit lane there. Speaking of which, speaking of Jeffries and Raymaker, they are in a struggle themselves for 10th place in the overall. Raymaker goes off. Jeffries is in the pits again. What has happened for Michael Jeffries? He was just in the pit lane like a lap ago.
He seems to be having some difficulty just getting into the pit lane.
It is a challenging pit lane, to be honest.
Might I recommend just drifting the whole thing the entire time?
I feel like that might be a bad idea.
Well, that's because you're just not creative like me.
You're not wrong.
Enrique, next time you're on this track, just try drifting the entire track. Just see if that's possible.
Dean Reimers putting the pressure on Lachlan Nichols in the battle for Australian Pride. Who do you have in this battle, sir? Dean or Lachlan?
Dean the Death Machine.
We got to vote for the Echo Hitman, Dean Reimers. The man from down under.
The Rhinoceros.
The Zero Veteran. And I think I may have a theory as to why the previously leading car is so far back. Because I caught a brief glimpse, and yeah, indeed I can confirm his front end is messed up. He is driving around with a beat-up front end. He has hit something at some point.
Harness the power of the Sith Lord.
He's not at that level yet. Dean Reimers looking to make a move stick here against Lachlan Nichols. Nichols holding on for now, and coming through is Luca Gray.
Not to be confused with Luca Brasi.
Please don't. Looks like Gray has made it through without any particular issue. And yeah, you can see the front end there of the red and
that is all jacked
black. That is a very jacked up front end. I feel you don't need to be an expert on cars to realize there's a problem there.
I don't think that's very aerodynamic, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might involve drag and or displacement.
It may. In the meantime, Reimers still on the back end of Lachlan Nichols, who's having a very impressive race. Nichols started very much near the back of the pack and is currently running in 14th overall, which is 10th place in the GT3s, having a fantastic outing for the number 88 McLaren team. But he
number
is
88 on your program, number 72 in your hearts.
He is under significant pressure, though, from Dean Reimers, so this could change very quickly. They are coming up on the dark. Oh!
Hey, give him the twister. Come on,
and Dean loses the back end and spins it around. We pick up Joel Martinez. Not overly certain why. He doesn't seem to be fighting with anyone right now. I mean, it's...
I was going to break into the whole, hey, it's your boy! It's your boy!
Mike McGracken is on the tail of Dean Reimers.
Unleash the Cracklin.
It'll unleash the Cracklin. They need to give me a Kraken car.
Go, baby, go! You can do it! Run him off the road! Sorry, dude.
Sorry. As you can see, Byron's loyalty shifts very frequently.
Also, I totally forgot that these McEwens were fucking 8%. Well done.
Mm-hmm. Were you expecting higher or lower?
Oh, I just forgot.
Okay.
I should have remembered. It's been a while since I had these delightful McEwen Scotch ales. There was a period of time where they just weren't exported anymore, and I was very sad.
Was that our sponsor for the day?
Yeah, probably. Although, did I have another? Oh, no, I used the Uncle Pappy's vintage grape juice.
That is true. That was for the Division 1 race.
Correct. McEwen Scotch Ale! Coming to you from the Division 2-3. We're gonna lift our kilts and wave at the fucking cheerleaders. You bastards.
It's not cheerleaders, it's the grid girls.
I don't fucking give a shit.
Hey, the grid girls are much more attractive than cheerleaders, sir.
That's probably true, but they don't have the frilly skirts.
That's where you are wrong.
Well, maybe perhaps they could drift a little over this way. Show them the Loch Ness Monster. Cost you about $3.50.
Enrique Hervas is about a half minute ahead of everyone. So
what the fuck?
He's in his natural habitat.
It's now I question: is this going to work like your boys of the European football? And is he going to go up to Division 1, or like it's very clear no one can hang with him at this particular stage in the game?
I would say that it's very likely that Enrique Hervas is in his final couple of races here as a Division 2 driver. Definitely heading towards Division 1, as he is absolutely mercilessly dominated the prototype proceedings in this series.
I mean, not for nothing. It's not like it's not fun watching Huevos just like go for it and hang his dick out in the wind, but come on.
It'd be interesting to see him have to go wheel to wheel with people a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of contact, but I'm also a big fan of blowout wins. After a while, like the first 2 or 3, those are hilarious, but after 5 or 6,
I do believe this would be his 5th consecutive victory in the series to open it up. Steve Carman, I thought was gonna be a guy to maybe hang with him. At Road America, he was actually the faster of the two. But speaking of damaged cars, John Pacheco has a slight problem in that Mustang.
Is it because it's American?
It's not because it's a Mustang, which is in itself a slight problem. Not gonna lie.
Is it because it uses lumps of iron as leaf springs?
But if we look at the background there, he's now behind Mike McRacken's car, so we won't get a good look at him. But
and everybody knows Mike McRacken is the cracklest.
His front end is making the 10th place car there of CUE look positively intact.
When G turns to C.
He's going for the Frederico Wagner award in this particular race, where he finishes with a car that, by all accounts, should have been retired.
I do enjoy me some Wagner. A little bombastic, really fantastic.
Although he seems to still have some decent pace in him, he's not losing tremendous ground to the Lachlan, Reimers, McGracken trio. By the way, Reimers is reeling Lachlan Nichols back in. Feel I also need to pitch out that the Wednesday 0 series will be starting not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. I do believe we'll be coming to you from the Sepang circuit in Malaysia. Allow me to
do Macau. It'll be hilarious.
No.
Macau.
It is indeed. It will be a 40-minute endurance race around the Sepang International Circuit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is not too late to register. We are at 13 cars and are keen to have more. So if you're free on Wednesday nights to race a little bit, and I would seriously consider having a look. And each race
everybody will sign up, because I want literally 97 cars on that track.
Indeed. And also, we will be doing commentary for that series as a priority within the ESR family.
Oh, this beer battle's too full. I'm going to have to chug a bunch so I can make the cool woo-woo sound.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could just grab an empty one.
Plus, you get to race with the luminaries such as Rick Martel.
The model! You may be able to smell his fragrance if you get close enough.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, Dean Reimer's still on the attack against Lachlan Nichols here in the battle for Australian pride.
Is there such a thing?
I think Australians are very prideful people.
I don't know. I think all the pride probably went to like New Zealand or Papua New Guinea or something. I don't know if Australia, really.
I think they definitely are.
I guess maybe. I'm waiting for some hateful comments on the video.
Luca Gray
is
getting a little physical once again.
What the fuck?
Not the brightest idea in a prototype car. There's a significant weight mismatch there.
Gonna say, I'm beginning to think there might be, whoa, teleportation abilities. Neato, gang.
A little bit of lag there for Lachlan Nichols.
I don't know.
Luca Gray is on the charge. He smells the rear end of Philippe Fehea.
I am getting the impression he's into that sort of thing.
I'm getting that impression. I'm getting the impression he's a little excited right now. They're coming up to Michael Jeffries, who, from what we've seen from this battle, might just be best getting out of the way, and he does.
Mm-hmm.
Next up on their list is Chris Raymaker, who is currently running in 4th place amongst the GTs.
This seems kind of aggressive.
Luca Gray is a very aggressive driver. He is looking to make it happen here against Philippe Fehea in a battle for 2nd place.
I'm waiting for, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for Felipe to go inside and use somebody to body block. It almost worked perfectly. Whoa!
Oh! A little bit more contact between Fehea and Gray.
Listen, I'm all for some contact, but that was some straight molestation.
And it's weird that they
Somebody
have not...
call the police.
It's a little weird they haven't seemingly damaged the cars, because these prototypes are not the sturdiest of construction. These are carbon fiber cars, normally very easy to damage, but...
I demand that they all be made out of tinfoil.
That might actually be stronger. But we've seen a couple of incidents now for Luca Gray, and the car is still running. I don't really have a great explanation for it. He has remarkable car control, though, because that's a couple of times he's lost it and just somehow just pulled it right back. And he's doing the flashing headlights again, trying to distract Philippe Fehea, but I think that's a dry well. Philippe Fehea has been at this for a while and is a veteran of this sport. I don't think flashing headlights is going to get the job done. Gray looking to the inside. Can he make it happen? Not yet.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that flashing headlights only work for female drivers.
I mean, that's definitely an interpretation of it.
All right.
Luca Gray looking down the inside. Oh, Frederico's Wagner getting out of the way. More contact between these two cars.
Jesus Christ.
Luca Gray, very physical with his driving.
What in the F? Oh, no, that's dirty pool. That's a pit maneuver. That's fucked up. Pool. That's fucked up right there. Fuck that shit. That's right out.
He appears to be stopping and maybe letting Fehea regain the position, but yes, that... I imagine that will be in front of the steward's office for disciplinary hearings. In the meantime, Dean Reimers is... the steward, yes.
Oh, steward. Sorry, I was having Letterkenny flashbacks. Fuck you, steward!
Fuck you, steward! Lachlan Nichols has lost the spot to Dean Reimers, and the bragging rights. Philippe Fehea is going into the pit lane now. I think he's damaged his car in this whole contact battle with Luca Gray over 2nd place. In the meantime, Enrique Hervas is now 50-plus seconds to the good over these two, and I think we can safely assume that, pending mechanical issues, that he's got this one in the bag. James Butler has lost a spot to the red and black Audi, which is coming back through the grid after its obvious contact.
What?
I believe the driver's name is Cuesta, but I could be mistaken on that account.
Can we call him Cuervo? He will be known as Cuervo Gold. Or is silver better than gold? Tequila escapes me. I don't understand the levels.
I believe the gold is the higher level.
I thought silver was better than gold. I thought it was one of those fucked up inverse things.
It might be.
I'm looking it up!
I freely admit that I don't drink a lot of tequila because things have historically not worked out tremendously well when I have.
Alright, tequila grades. White or silver blanco is, I guess, the opener level. Gold or Joven Obacado. Young and smooth, so it's still fucking raw, but not that great. And then we have 3 years old, which is Repisado. 4-year-old, or number 4 is, I don't know if this is years or just grades, but number 4 is Añejo, which is vintage or extra aged. Then we have extra Añejo, which is ultra aged. And then we have Reserva de Casa. And or Reserva de Familia.
Oh, the family reserve or the castle reserve.
Let's see. Wait a minute. There's a 7th level, which is flavored. Oh, that doesn't count. Flavored tequila / tequila liqueur. That's not even a real thing. We're not going to go there.
That's not a tequila.
So you want you basically want to try and get yourself an añejo or an extra añejo, but minimum reposado. And if you're mixing with shit, probably silver or gold.
Yeah.
Andy Blade continuing not to win. What a jerk.
He is in second place, though, behind just Cesar Morano. He has disposed of Ariel Zatoni, and in the background you see Mike McCracken, who is down a lap to these two individuals.
Run him off the road.
Simon Boehner putting the pressure on Yoel Martinez for the 10th place position, which is 6th amongst the GTs. Simon Boehner's had a good second half of the race, but the first half was definitely pretty much a massive letdown for the German driver. You feel like he probably should be a bit higher up than he is in the pecking order right now, which in the GTs at the moment is Cesar Morano, Andy Blade, Ariel Zatoni, Chris Raymaker, and Cuesta is your top 5, followed by Butler, Martinez, Boehner, Barker, Reimers, Nickel, McGracken, Jeffries, Wagner, Pachea, and then it appears we have lost 2 cars from the race, with Philippe Fehea has not left the pits apparently, and of course Andrew Uniacki, who was pretty much deceased on the first lap. Hashtag regged on the first lap. Coming up to Frederico's Wagner here is Yoel Martinez and Simon Boehner. Looks like Martinez is going to make it through easy. Where'd Wagner go? Oh, he went really wide to let them through. Appreciate it.
He went as wide as his mother.
Andy Blade is still on the charge. He spells victory, and he's got 2 minutes and 45 seconds to make it happen.
Spoiler alert, he shall be denied. I have no idea. I don't know how this race ends.
He is on the tail of Cesar Morano, and also a fantastic fight here still between Simon Boehner and Yoel Martinez.
I'm assuming that since Andy was too ashamed to come do commentary with us, that he did not win.
I mean, that would be a logical deduction, or perhaps he just wants us to aggrandize his victory.
Oh, baby. Oh,
Simon Boehner going down the outside against Yoel Martinez. Can he make it happen into the first corner?
Give it, go. No, not even close.
No, but Martinez has gone deep. But he holds it. Good driving by Yoel Martinez in the Hello Kitty Mercedes, hanging on against Simon Boehner in the Porsche. Pressure is still on. I can say that I did beat Andy Blade in the Enduro race today.
Nice. Enduro Cross, OP, please nerf.
He made a second pit stop, I don't know why, and then got a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
What a dick. He's obviously from fucking Gloucestershire.
It might be.
Which I mispronounced on purpose. Seriously, can we have a talk about that for a second? He's from a place called Manchester. I mean, this is 2018. Shouldn't it be Person-Chester, okay?
Person-Chester United. Person-Chester City.
Entity Chester?
Oh, that one actually has a bit of a ring to it.
That does sound weirdly cool, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I will patent that immediately.
In the meantime, Martinez is still under pressure and going heavily defensive against Simon Boehner. Now, that kind of line that's going to be that close, that's going to open the door up on the exit, but he's holding it remarkably well. Credit to Yoel Martinez just putting on right now an absolute clinic on defensive driving.
You're going to feel the Bane hammer. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
He's still there.
Oh, he's still there.
Shout out to Tomic Waz, who just logged on to Steam.
What?
we look forward to him his hand healing up and getting his wheel installed and joining us on the ESR's grids.
Dude, you got to warm up before you hit those porn sites. Come on, son.
They're coming up to, you can see the problems that John Pachea has, the completely missing hood on his Mustang at this point. Andy Blade still putting the pressure on for the win, but he's only, one would assume he's only got this lap to get the job done, and I just don't think he's close enough to the Bentley.
Now, if you remove your hood, that's...
Oh, Bader's going through! Bader's going through!
Baby.
They've got the bus.
No, he's not gonna hold it. He's not gonna hold it.
He's got the inside line on this turn, though. He might hold it. No, he's got the outside line on this turn. Yep, good driving by Yoel Martinez, continuing to show excellent defensive craft. And as I say this, he got a little bit wide there, so maybe a little bit of a caster's curse, but Boehner can't make it stick. This will go down to the wire, though, between Simon Boehner and Yoel Martinez.
Simon says drive.
By the way, it appears that Enrique Hervas will win this race by about 51 seconds over Luca Gray.
Whoa, what was that?
Martinez getting a little bit out of shape. He appears to still be holding the position. Andy Blade on the charge against Cesar Maranhão. Running out of time here, though, for Andy Blade to make it happen against the Portuguese driver. Martinez, further down the grid, is still holding off Boehner, which is happening off camera right now, but they're focusing on the class victory here. Andy Blade versus the championship leader Cesar Maranhão. It would be huge if Blade could get the victory here today, but he is pretty much out of time. This is the final lap, I would have to imagine, for these two, as the clock shows 0.
I might mention that both of those cars did that weird snake move that I brought up last night, that Andy had no idea what I was talking about. That was what I was talking about.
But he's doing it.
Yeah.
Simon Boehner appears to have been held off at the line by Yoel Martinez. Or are they still going? They're still going. They've got another lap. Okay, this is not over yet. The battle continues between Boehner and Martinez. And they're catching up to James Butler. Throughout this entire battle, they have actually been catching Butler, who is in 9th place. That is impressive, because normally when you're fighting with the car ahead of you, you're not going that fast because you're going defensive and stuff. But James Butler is now in danger of getting passed by not only Yoel Martinez, but also by Simon Boehner. He may be in fuel conservation. He is getting double drifted. Martinez is through and up into 9th place. Here comes Boehner.
Oh, no, he's a little close.
It's side by side. It's Porsche on Porsche violence.
Oh, those Germans.
Simon Boehner is putting the pressure on James Butler. He's running out of time. He's got to get done now. I'm going to assume that Butler is in fuel conservation mode. It's really the only explanation for what's going on here. In the meantime, Chris Raymaker almost getting past Ariel Zatoni by the line.
That guy's dead.
And it looks like Luca Gray has run out of gas.
Well, that was fun.
Indeed. And it looks like
How many
James
fucking infractions is that?
It's a lot. James Butler has dropped behind Simon Boehner. So James Butler on the last lap has gone from 9th place back to 11th place. He cannot be terribly happy. Dean Alvaro Gomez Cuesta also getting across the line there. Good to finally have his name.
That's correct.
With a very, very beaten up Audi. It looks like he has been caught up in the Luca Gray problems. Yoel Martinez is going to hold off Simon Boehner, but Boehner is going to get James Butler. You can see Luca Gray there by the pit lane. It looks like he's run out of fuel, and we're just kind of waiting for the cars to come across the line to finalize the results here. There they are. Enrique Hervas, your winner from Azar Alamori. Luca Gray losing 2nd place because he ran out of fuel on the last lap. Alamore takes 2nd. Cesar Maranhão takes the GT3 victory from Andy Blade, Ariel Zatoni, Chris Raymaker, Alvaro Gomez Cuesta. And that is going to be the entire race for today. That was pretty fucking exciting.
I enjoyed it a great deal.
Hell of a conclusion to the Motegi action. Next up on the calendar is the Slovakia ring, which will be taking place next Saturday.
And live fire will be coming from the stands.
Indeed, probably. It's a rough place.